Hey y'all, welcome back to MovementLink. So, everything is related to sleep in such a big way that sleep is usually the first place we start. One, because it's the easiest and has the biggest bang for your buck, but also it can make everything else we're doing when we're talking about exercise, trying to get 10,000 steps a day in, and eating healthy, real food. It makes everything so much easier. And when we're not sleeping, not only is it not making it easier, it's actually making it so much harder. So, lack of sleep, and when we talk about that, some of these effects happen from just tens of minutes lacking sleep. Some of them are a little bit more, but the main thing is we should be shooting for 7.5, 8 or more hours of quality sleep a night. So when we are sleep deprived, the next morning we can actually be pre-diabetic. What that means is that your body does not, and your cells don't respond the same way to insulin that they would when you've been slept, meaning you're more likely to store fat, and it has a whole host of other health effects that come along with it. So, lack of sleep just almost immediately causes your body to not be able to handle food, even healthy food, the same way that it could if you were well slept. Another thing is your immune system is depleted. So you're more likely to get sick. I think it's 60% of your cancer fighting cells are just shut off. It's incredible numbers here. So your immune system takes a big hit. This is one of the most interesting things, I think, is that people who are underslept, and this is where the tens of minutes come in, people that are underslept by tens of minutes report more signs and symptoms of loneliness and depression. But the interesting thing, actually I think that's interesting on its own, but another interesting thing is they took a group of people and they had who were underslept and slept, so a wide range of people, and they were interviewing them, and they had other observers watching the interviews. What they came back with is the observers watching people rated the people who were underslept as being less attractive, and they wanted to hang out with them less. So not only were the people who were underslept feeling more lonely and depressed and having all of these other issues, other people were seeing them as being less attractive, meaning that when you're out in the world and interacting, not only are you feeling terrible, other people aren't responding to you the same way. And so it has this kind of double-edged sword that's really impacting you negatively. Another thing that happens when we're underslept is your hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin. Ghrelin lets you know when you're hungry. Leptin tells you when you're full. They're out of whack and backwards, meaning when you eat, you're not going to be getting the signals of being full and satiated. The signals that your brain are getting aren't going to be right. So we talk about this a lot in the Momentum program, is hunger, and that feeling of being hunger is just a hormone. You can be really hungry because it's a hormone without needing any food. So if we just didn't eat for 30 days, it would not be fun, and I'm not recommending to not eat for 30 days, but we would survive. We would be fine. We have plenty of body fat, especially imagine skipping one meal. You're not starving when you skip one meal. Your body's just not completely used to it. And your body's going to send signals to your brain telling you you're hungry. So when we're underslept, those signals are backwards. And even when we have eaten, we're going to want to keep eating and keep eating and keep eating because these signals are backwards. So next time you're underslept, really pay attention to that. Did you eat a lot that day? Could you just not get full? It's probably because your brain wasn't receiving truthful information. Another thing is your brain, as far as intelligence and productivity go, just doesn't work the same. So you're going to be running at a lower brain capacity. So a lot of people think that if you're sleeping in and you're not staying up all night, you're not working hard. Well, you're going to be working a lot smarter and better because you yourself are going to be a smarter person. Another thing we talk about a lot is just willpower and managing willpower throughout the day. And if you think of willpower as being in this giant bucket, and throughout the day as you make choices, you deplete it, and as you do other things, you can replenish it. We have another video that I did where we talk about ways to replenish your willpower and manage it. But when we talk about not sleeping, we're basically starting with the bucket really low already. And so it really makes it hard for us to manage our willpower when we're not starting with any willpower. And then when we're underslept, we tend to have a lot less activity. So it's harder to work out. It's harder to get those 10,000 steps. You're less likely to do that 5 to 10 minutes of yoga and mobility every day, which has kind of this cyclical compounding impact. So sleep is so important. It's almost always the first place we go because things like eating healthier, starting to exercise, these things, it can take weeks and months for you to feel the effects of this. You will feel the positive effects of a good night's sleep in one day. Just get a good night's sleep. And then the other thing we need to know is that life isn't perfect. We don't always get perfect sleep. So when we're armed with the knowledge of how sleep affects us, it can really help us on those days where we are underslept. So because I'm a coach, I wake up early every now and then to go get into the gym really, really early to go coach classes. And on those days, these are the things I notice. But what really helps me is on those days, I especially know I'm a really good go by feel eater at this point. I've kind of developed being able to listen to my body when it's hungry. What makes it is sugar. What are the things that are making my body lie to my brain? And one of the things is on those days where I don't get enough sleep, I am starving all day, and knowing that I'm not actually starving and knowing that it's just a hormone imbalance because of the sleep helps me out so much on those days, especially with willpower and all of these other things. So just having a knowledge and being able to feel when we're going through things, or when we wake up and it's like, man, I didn't get a good night's sleep. Okay, here's what I can expect today, and I'm just going to do the best I can as I go. It helps you make good choices so much more often. It's not about being perfect. It's just about having that bigger understanding to help you out as much as possible. I hope this helps. Talk to y'all soon.